What the city is talking about. This is Montreal Now on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
That is James Mennie of the Montreal Gazette. Oh, James!
Oh,
are you there, my friend? Are you there?
I'm there. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Good, because they told me, you know what gets me is I'm all excited because they told me, you're going to be talking to Hertel on Good Friday, and I said no. If I'm talking to David Hertel, it's not Good Friday. It's going to be a great.
Oh wow!
And here we are.
It's a great Friday. I love our talks. That's something. Well done, sir. I'm touched. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
they coming up with that.
Man, this is incredible. Every single promise of the CAQ is falling apart almost every other day. Now it's daycare spots.
Yeah, absolutely. David, last time you and I talked too, I think I used the expression "the house is on fire." But the fact is, to a certain extent, it had been smoldering for quite some time. And I got to tell you, I'll do my mea culpa. I think there was, in that post-pandemic glow, we may not have been as diligent as we should have been in terms of holding this government's feet to the fire. We figured, we all went through this big trauma, and they let us through it, and let's cut them some slack and this and that. I'm trying to figure out, and I got to tell you, David, I almost get the impression that, we talk about immobilisme on the part of Montreal and how nothing ever gets done. And well, I'm looking at what's happening right now with this CAQ government in terms of stuff that matters to the people of Quebec. I'm sure there are plenty of foreign business people right now happy as clams with the $1 billion handouts to get from the François Legault government. I'm sure there are. They're building their factories here. We've got billions of our dollars on the line with their investment. But when it comes to basic stuff, when it comes to the stuff that basically, Quebecers vote governments in to do, the record's not that great. And I can't help but wonder when we see, François Legault saying that, we're going to create 37,000 spaces by March 31st of 2025. And as of last February, the waiting list is still 30,660. And we only have close to 16,000 spots that have been created. And then we look at, it's not just that this is how embarrassing. Well, doesn't François Legault want Quebecers to go out there and get those job payants and want them and not want to have to bring all these immigrants in to do all these? Well, I got news. If you want to start a family and you both want to work and you both have to work, given the economic demands of the here and now, daycare spots are a pretty important part of the puzzle, and clearly that isn't happening. But once again, it just seems to a certain extent, really, David, more and more, it's becoming a government by photo op, government by announcement, government by drama.
They're not governing. They're actually not governing.
There's no French on that hockey jersey. There's no French on that T-shirt.
My goodness.
Although I have to tell you, just before I came on, I saw a bulletin from TVA saying that this league, the Quebec Junior Major, whatever the hell it is, okay? Although I love the headline, from now on they'll be obliged to porter les linges en français.
Yeah. That's it. I was almost assimilated. I'm a francophone. I was almost assimilated when I saw those hockey players wearing English hoodies. I felt there it is. I'm assimilated.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, but it's my God. And we were talking about this earlier this week, and I said, my God, how many francophone Quebecers, even CAQ supporters at this point, and to a certain extent, the Péquistes, or the newly rediscovered Péquistes, are basically face-palming themselves, saying, really? Is there nothing else that you can freak out about?
I really think, James, you're right, but here's the thing. I think that Legault, that's all he has left, because while we're talking about this, while he's putting Jean-François Roberge out there to talk about this stupid little issue, then that means we're not talking about daycare spots, the budget, housing, healthcare, you name it, education. And, this week, that's exactly, what did we hear about? We heard about, English on hockey players' jerseys and the housing crisis being the fault of temporary foreign workers. And your daycare numbers, by the way, just to make sure, it's a small fraction of those spots that are missing that would be taken by asylum seekers, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing I find interesting is this week we also had a recycling, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but there's no other way to describe it. La Presse does a big takeout on the number of civil servants that Francois Legault hired, saying he's going to cut by 5,000. He actually increased by 10,000. This was not news, and yet it became part of the news cycle again. It was a good job, good solid reporting, a good job, and so you know how the circle works. Then you go around, it's a terrible headline. Let's get some reaction from the government. Well, who do we see? One of the more credible members of the Legault government, Sonia Lebel, turning around and saying, well, we've had to extend the civil servants because the needs of Quebecers have also changed. And Quebecers need help. Among other things, David, we need more civil servants to protect the French language.
Yeah, of course. We need 10,000 more. And just by the way, which, again, going to the last refuge, language and identity politics, while what this really hides, I think, and one of the biggest scandals of this government is that where the rest of the world is talking about AI and technology, here in Quebec, we're still sending faxes in the healthcare system, regardless of what everybody else is saying since the pandemic, and we still have paper files in our justice system where everybody else is saying, you know what, there's this thing called technology, and Éric Kerr is saying, yeah, we're doing it.
Let's cut to the chase here, buddy, because, I've been suggesting this. However, you're the only guy on the show who's got hands-on experience, quite apart from the whole fin de regime vibe I'm getting off of this government, okay? And we're saying it's now another 19 months. How long? I don't think he's going to last. I think Legault is going to walk. I think it's a matter of balancing his ego against his stubbornness. But I don't think he wants to be around because I don't think those numbers are going to go up. There is no Deus and Makina who's going to come in and say, "Oh my goodness!" Even Justin Trudeau, with his steampunk version of rent or housing reform, which makes no sense to me as far as I can tell, other than to say, "Oh look, I'm doing something about this," even though I'm not really sure what exactly it is. And as I mentioned, he wants to create a charter of tenants' rights. I hope he pays more attention to that than he did to the charter of human rights in this country.
Yes.
But listen, I gotta tell you, it wouldn't surprise me. I have a gut feeling Legault is going to walk, and I honest to God think that caucus is going to split up. I mean, there may be parts who will stick with the CAQ, but I could see more than a few of them walking around to other sort of, how can I put it, gravitational forces from other opposition parties. I don't see this party lasting the next election.
Well, remember, the Union Nationale broke up a few years. I mean, they lasted a few years after Maurice Duplessis. They did form government a couple of times after. Well, once actually. But two premiers. But the thing is, it didn't last long, and I'm figuring this is the same thing as the Union Nationale.
But isn't that crazy? I mean, this was supposed to have been a revolution in Quebec politics. This was the third way. This was the escape hatch for Quebecers who've been held hostage for half a century.
I don't see Geneviève Guilbeault or Sonia Lebel or Simon Jolin Barrette or Bernard Drainville keeping this together.
No, absolutely
after François
not.
Legault.
And certainly not Pierre Fitzgibbon, and certainly not Christian Dubé.
No.
I mean, these guys will be the first ones into the escape pods. But I mean, the thing is, and I don't blame them. Because in the end, this really wasn't about anything, Dave. It was about Francois Legault saying what he thought a lot of people wanted to hear, and to a certain extent, he was right. But a lot of stuff that he pulled out of the air, and a lot of the stuff that I think his ego made him, exaggerate, i.e., these spots in daycares, i.e., les places bleues, the panier bleu, this bleu, that bleu, and none of it's working. But honestly, I really think this is a possibility. I won't go as far as to say likelihood yet, but I'll say it's a very strong possibility that I think a lot of people are going to have to consider, and probably are privately considering right now, because I don't see an exit strategy for this government, and I never mind whether there's a vacuum of pressure from the opposition parties. I think the pressure is going to come from the public. Even though PQ is helpfully reminding the public about this unkept promise about daycare spots, they know about the daycare spots. As I say, daycare spots is going to affect a lot of Quebecers in terms of the decisions, especially the tough decisions they're making now economically. So, I think the days of slogans, the days of thumping your chest or snapping your suspenders and talking about solidarity may be behind us. So they're certainly behind Francois Legault. And I think it's going to be a very, very interesting I think we're trading one set of uncertainties that we dealt with for half a century for another set in the next 20 months. Where the hell are we going to wind up?
Agreed. And I'm telling you, with that middle-class, francophone, suburban voter talking about identity politics is not going to do it. At one point, even the francophones are going to say, ça suffit, deal with the real issues.
Yep. Everyone's checking their bank account. Everyone's checking their mortgage. Everyone's checking how their kids are doing. They're not worried. And damn it, they want their kids to play hockey. They don't give a damn what language is on their T-shirt.
Exactly.
Always
a pleasure, sir. Joyeuse Pâques. Have a great weekend.
Toi aussi. À la prochaine.
À la prochaine. James Mennie of the Montreal Gazette.